I'm gonna start this video off by giving some examples, and as I try to talk about, what I was thinking about or experienced and had a question about. And so the first example I can come up with is like, a lot of times, sometimes when, I do videos, I say not all. When I talk about people, I say not all. Not all, whatever. Sometimes when I do videos, I feel as though I have to say not all. When I'm talking about a group or situation, it's never ever all with me. All people, all organizations, all situations. It's never all. But I want to start this one off by giving examples. A few examples of, something I experienced, something I had questions about, something that I wanted to brain dump about and share. And so in this situation, some of the first thing I think about, how people, behavioral science, health, we as people live everyday life, and is affected by someone once, I don't know if it was Proctor, last name Proctor, or it was a female that gave the example of, like with babies, it's like a sponge and you just squeeze and squeeze, or they absorb everything that comes into the mind. And as individuals, we do that, and it can be difficult we don't know sometimes whether we should have certain things in our mind or not, and that's a learning process, as you get older or experience certain things in school, family, and you figure out, once you get into yourself and figure out what makes you feel good inside, and choose to what you want to absorb into your mind and things of that nature. And in this case, I feel as though sometimes we, with that absorption that goes into I'm not qualified to talk about the subconscious, unconscious, whatever kind of conscious, it goes into the mind. And, as we repeat things, or we have things in our mind that we don't question, we don't address. And so we think all people, all situations, all is the same. What am I talking about? So the first thing kind of in my mind, say for example, with the military, you can say all these privates are the same way. They get drunk, or E4 and below, they come in, they think we don't know, they get drunk and they go in there and they try to get a bag of saline, start their own IVs, and to get over their hangovers and stuff. But we've been there, we knew that. Some people might say there's some sergeants or staff sergeants, whatever, or officers. And all them privates are the same. All them E4 and below, they just the same. They all get drunk. They all this, they all that. They all disrespectful. They all, right? Then when you meet one that is totally different than what you keep spewing and keep saying about them, and you realize it's different. Everybody's different. You can try to put them in a box, in a category, but you're gonna get punked because they're all not the same. The same within a medical environment, and this has annoyed me too. I've seen this before, where there's a difference, especially if you're working in the Army, in hospitals. There's a difference between a med tech, a nursing assistant, a health tech. They do similar things, but it's a difference. A nursing assistant is licensed, but they are unable to do IVs and just other things. And so there have been nursing assistants that act like they're nurses, and you'll say, what is your profession or something like that, and they'll say, I'm a nurse, and then you find out they're a nursing assistant. So I can understand clinical nurses, those that hold the clinical license, getting upset about that when they act like that. And but they treat everybody that they meet, depending on the person and the personality and behaviors, the same. That's the same as a nurse acting like they're a doctor, and the doctor gets upset and was like, I got the degree in medicine, not you. You can't diagnose, or you can't do this or that. But it's not all, it's not every nurse. And so the same with I gotta go get my coffee. I'll be back. Okay, as I was saying, and so when I keep saying we, and I'm not supposed to say we, I, you. So when sometime, let me just cut to the chase and stop the bull crap. All right, so in a situation, I want to talk about the flip side of that too. Like, you could be one of those people that say you're stepping out of your boundaries and out of your element and being disrespectful that way, or not letting those that are, for example, licensed personnel, be the one to they have the experience, they have the background to do what they do, right? But what I'm trying to say is, on the flip side of that, when you're not that person and you have never done those type of things that the individual try to look at you as, or try to paint upon you the picture that you're not about. And so the way that is done, it can make you a person pretty upset, because it's like, I'm not even trying to be disrespectful. You've never heard me come out of my element or watch me come out of my element to be more than what I am, to be disrespectful, but you are overly trying to treat me in that manner for those that do. I don't know. You know. Okay, so in the end, what I want to say is, I don't flex my whoever the hell I am. I know I can make change. I know who I have to say a couple of words to. I know how to get it done and get things changed. But I don't flex that. I don't talk about that. I don't brag about that. I don't, I'm all that in the back of chicks back. You know, that type of, I don't do that. And if you look up AOD, Administrator on Duty under USA Jobs, you have a certain responsibility, right? And when it comes time to step in to do certain things, you do certain things. And you know your role. But I think it's those that have those insecurities, those that have those superior mindsets, those that you know, you just can't deal with, no matter what. You can try to talk to them and say you were very disrespectful. You know I know my job. You know I know boundaries. You know I know how to do things. And it's not going to be only at your do the wand, at your request, at your demand for what you desire. You can get the hell up out of here with all that bullshit. You understand? That's it. Well, another thing is, you know, these type of people or their behaviors are difficult according to other people that are around them. And so when you do deal with them, sometimes you can call them out depending on how the conversation is going. If you're having a depending on the conversation they're having with you, if they want to engage with you and they're asking questions about situations within the workplace, and you know, you could say I'm giving my honest opinion, you know, since you're asking me, and that's how you can bring out, and just like when you did such and such, that wasn't nice, that wasn't respectful, and this is why I feel this way and that way, and I understand a little bit about why you did what you did, you know, and give examples. Because a lot of times if you just come out and point them out right then and stop them in their tracks, it can turn around to be very harsh going forward, and they will do everything in their power to sabotage you and make it worse for you. And so then you're always on your toes waiting for that moment to explode. Or another thing is you just can't write everything up and send everything up. I mean, you keep your notes on things that happen, because if something big happens later, you do have that documented, you know, as support for what you may be going to file a grievance for or something like that. But it is good to get it out and talk about it. And this is why I like to be able to brain dump. And I know a little bit about people and why they act the way they act, and I deal with it up to a certain extent. And then sometimes I hear people say, oh, she's in rare form today, because then I start you know. These are the days when I start chopping up, chop, coming back and like just giving them people something for everything they try to come at me with. Like I don't let it slide. And they'll be like, oh, she's in rare form today, or she's why are you being so sensitive, or I've never seen you like this, why are you being so mean, you know, things of that nature. So when you're used to just eating it, not saying nothing, being silent, and it comes out, then sometime though you find out who's really who, in addition to what you have been observing, because those that really care and they really don't want to hurt anyone or be offensive to anyone, they make change and they listen and they say this is why they do that. They give you good dialogue, you know, you go back and forth with good conversation, and you start to feel the bond between the two of you, that, you know, you may have felt some kind of way, they may have felt some kind of way, or whatever. But how to put all that together, I'm not sure. I mean, if I thought and took the time out to think about it and put it all together in a more structured manner, not just you see those that talk about the workplace, do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that. It's a lot deeper than all that, and there's a way to do it, but you have to call out every single thing at certain points of time, in certain times, you know. Peace.
I'm seeking some understanding about what happened the other day. When I was working as the administrator on duty at the Veterans Hospital, I was in the process of checking in a patient, and while the patient was explaining what was wrong, I intended to ask for their name and last 4 digits of their social security number so they could be directed to the nurse without having to repeat their concerns. Before I could finish, a nurse, who has a history of being overly controlling, interrupted abruptly. She does not handle critical emergency room situations well and often becomes flustered. This time, she stepped in before I could speak and told the patient, "Don't talk to her, the nurses are who you need to talk to," as though I were unaware of proper procedure. I have never offered medical advice, and all the nurses I work with know that I am careful to stay in my lane and respect boundaries, and I do not have the kind of relationship with patients that would make me cross into clinical care. I can understand that she comes from the civilian world where nursing assistants sometimes act as though they are nurses. Even outside of work, I've even heard a nursing supervisor make dismissive comments about their role. As an administrator on duty, I know some people try to keep you in your place, but they can't do that entirely because I serve as the on-site representative for hospital administration, overseeing multiple departments during weekends, holidays, evenings, and nights. Staff rely on me for certain responsibilities, but often I choose to remain quiet to avoid unnecessary conflict. Still, their attitude toward me feels disrespectful. What makes it stranger is the inconsistency. This same nurse has come up to me in a friendly manner, even dancing in front of me as if that would make me feel good, which I simply laugh off and return to my work on another occasion. She asked about starting a podcast since she knows I make videos on the side, and I showed her exactly how I got started. All of this is frustrating and frankly annoying.
Personal insecurity and disrespectful behavior toward others cannot be justified by misunderstanding roles or feeling threatened. Statement on professional respect and boundaries. In any workplace, Especially in healthcare, each role has its own importance and set of responsibilities. No one should ever feel the need to diminish or publicly correct another person in order to feel secure in their position. You cannot change a person by disrespecting them, nor can you justify unprofessional conduct by claiming to feel threatened by someone else's competence. When an individual clearly understands and respects their professional boundaries, their actions demonstrate accountability and confidence. However, when someone consistently interrupts, undermines, or attempts to control others out of insecurity, it reflects poor emotional intelligence and can create tension within the team. It's essential to recognize the difference between a true threat and one's own feelings of inadequacy. Feeling uncomfortable because someone else performs their duties confidently is not a valid reason for disrespect. Instead of acting out or imposing control, a professional response is to communicate, collaborate, and learn from one another. In healthcare administration, respect must go in both directions between clinical and administrative staff. Administrators understand their lane and do not cross into clinical judgment. In turn, clinical team members should also respect the administrative oversight and leadership roles in place to ensure operations run smoothly. Ultimately, professionalism is shown not by dominance, but by composure, respect, and the ability to work alongside others without projecting personal insecurities or resentments.
The Stein Everett, where someone waits to catch mistakes, magnifies them, and accuses another of thinking they're perfect. It's a sign of toxic relationships, whether it's at work, in families, or in intimate partnerships. Individuals using this approach often criticize and highlight small faults to control or shame, escalating minor missteps into major flaws. This behavior is intended to undermine confidence and can occur in various contexts, frequently accompanied by phrases like "you think you're so perfect" or "you're too sensitive." Toxic workplaces and exposing mistakes. Some workplace environments or leaders focus on fault finding, using employees' mistakes, no matter how minor, as proof that they're not as competent as they think they are. This pattern can create an atmosphere of fear and self-doubt, discouraging open communication and authentic contributions. Supervisors or co-workers with this mindset may showcase errors to demonstrate value and maintain control, often exaggerating the consequences or meaning of small mistakes. Family dynamics, shaming and criticism. In families, toxic members use criticism, gaslighting, or guilt-tripping to highlight any perceived imperfection. They might belittle accomplishments, mock choices, or use sarcasm, and often flip the narrative to become the victim if their behavior is challenged. This emotional manipulation keeps others feeling insecure and stuck, with boundaries routinely ignored and achievements minimized. Interpersonal relationships, deflection and exaggeration. Partners who exaggerate flaws or deflect responsibility usually struggle with their own insecurities or fears of inadequacy. Small mistakes may be used as evidence that the other person is not as perfect as they claim, or that they're too sensitive. This conflict often involves defensive behaviors and dishonesty, eroding trust and healthy communication.
What can be done? Recognize toxic patterns early and set clear boundaries to protect well-being. Focus on honest, respectful conversations about mistakes without drama or exaggeration. Seek support, whether professional guidance or safe peer relationships, to rebuild confidence and establish healthier dynamics. This toxic pattern, waiting for small missteps and turning them into major faults, reflects deeper relational dysfunction and usually signals a need for greater self-preservation and boundary setting in all types of relationships. Book recommendations. Emotional blackmail: When the people in your life use fear, obligation, and guilt to manipulate you, by Susan Forward. This book explores the patterns and language of psychological manipulation, helping readers recognize when they are being controlled or shamed for minor faults. Codependent: No More by Melody Beattie, widely regarded as a classic for anyone dealing with dysfunctional relationships, especially when others regularly focus on shortcomings or demand perfection. If he's so great, why do I feel so bad? By Avery Neal focuses on identifying and overcoming subtle psychological abuse, often involving shaming or hyper-focus on mistakes. Healing Your Wounded Relationship by Robert Jackman offers practical guidance for breaking free from chronic fault-finding or codependent cycles. Literature on toxic workplace dynamics. See books highlighted in 17 dysfunctional relationships. Books that experts recommend, which discuss not only intimate family but also workplace dynamics marked by finger-pointing and exaggeration of small errors. Academic reviews like How Toxic Workplace Environment Affects the Employee Engagement describe psychological harm associated with fault-finding cultures and the effects on employee well-being. Video recommendations. Boundary problems exposed in toxic relationships. YouTube discusses boundary setting with those prone to magnifying flaws, including practical book guides. Magnification and minimization. YouTube offers a clear explanation of the magnification distortion, the tendency to blow up failures, and how to shift this mindset. Cognitive responses, magnification and minimization.